Well, the idea really at first was a dance for 6 men. There were 6 of us in London Contemporary Dance, and we'd just done a tour of Brazil. And we'd heard the music. We'd seen a martial art form they do in Brazil called capoeira, which is very rhythmical and very beautiful. It's like halfway between dancing and fighting. And at the same time, we were studying a martial art called Aikido. We were actually studying it in the company. So we thought we'd put this all in a dance. At that time, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I just said I was going to do a dance for 6 men. So the 6 of us got in the studio and we started messing around. A lot of us had brought Brazilian music back with us, and so we found some pieces to put together. At that point in modern dance, there was a lot of experimentation going on, and I wanted to get back to something that I thought was more like real dancing, or dancing to music. So it started off with that in mind, in a way also of making fun of macho men. We were kind of macho men in the company, but we wanted not to take ourselves too seriously about it. So we started off like that, then we let it slip into more undergraduate humor, which explains the level of humor in the dance. And at that point, I had several ideas about what dancing was. I was starting to form my own ideas about what I thought dancing could be. And I knew that 3 essential factors were important. Stamina, of course. It was very important to have a lot of strength. Secondly, imagination. Imagination being smart. The third thing was that if you had rhythm and musicality and you could really dance, nothing could stop you. And in the actual dance itself, you'll see those 3 things brought out. The actual title of the dance, Troy Game, came from a book by Lincoln Kirstein, in which, in fact, I got a lot of ideas for the dance. There were some ideas in the book. One of them was about these young men that used to do this dance called the stork dance, where they would hop on one leg until one of them knocked the other one over. Another was a dance they did called the Pyrrhic dance, where men used to do dancing to prepare for war, to prepare for battle, which I thought was a great idea, that in Sparta, men would actually dance in order to go into battle. Because today, dancing is looked upon as something maybe not that masculine, and I thought that would be very good for us. And so that's why the costumes are sort of like old Greek costume, like or gladiator costume, Roman costumes. But I wanted them not to be entirely antique. I wanted them to also be modern. So that's why they wear socks like soccer players. So it would be a combination of those 2 things. When we choreographed Troy Game, we did it in sections, and we never actually did it all together. And in fact, it was when Dance Theater of Harlem came to see a run-through at the place that we first did it. And when we got to the end of it, we all just collapsed, which is why the collapse happens at the end of the dance. But it was excruciating the first time we did it. And in fact, when we first did it, we only did it with 6 men, and 6 men did it all the way through. But Arthur Mitchell has expanded it for his great men, and I think it's made a different kind of dance, but equally interesting. The dance itself seems to be on quite a light level, and I don't mean it to have anything particularly meaningful about it, but I did think at that point that we needed to remember that dancing was really important. And I suppose that's where Dance Theater of Harlem comes in. And when Arthur Mitchell saw the piece, I think he saw it would suit his dancers very well. So I think it was in 1977 that we decided to put it on for Dance Theater of Harlem. And as you can see, it really does suit them well.
Yo! Yo! The Beloved is a ballet that is based in actual fact. James Truitt, who helped us prepare for this, was the original dancer. The ballet is choreographed by Lester Horton, who read a newspaper article of a minister who had beaten his wife to death with a Bible because he thought she was unfaithful. In preparing for this role, I worked with James Truitt and spoke a little bit with Carmen de Lavalade. The woman that I portray is a very strong woman. She's not afraid of her husband, and her main idea in this ballet is she's asking, why don't you believe me? I really do love you. Why don't you believe me?
Well, the part I'm playing, which is the minister, is a very extreme character. He became most certain that she has been unfaithful to him, and he started to act in a very strange manner.
That's true.
Which is killing her, strangling her, actually.
Yes, in the ballet, I'm strangled as opposed to being beaten to death.
Yeah, which is different from the reality.
Yes.
I find that indeed, your character is a very, very, very strong woman, and yet very given. She's asking herself that question: what is happening in this mind? What is happening? What is the situation? Why is he behaving so strangely?
Did you have trouble doing the hard things? We're friends, and it was very difficult to see you come at me with a hand like you're going to hit me. Did you have trouble with that? I did. I was very frightened of you for a while. Like,
well, that part actually was the most...
You liked that part, didn't you?
The most difficult part of all of it, it's trying to give that realistic gesture, and yet, having to stop at the right moment, not to slap you.
Well, we had a few of those. Yeah, we had a few of those. But that was very difficult for me because I didn't want to be afraid of you, but I was afraid of you.
Well, I think it's a growing process.
Yes.
It built on until the end of the ballet.
It's difficult to tell a story in 8 minutes, and in that 8 minutes, you must see a little bit of what our home life would be like, and then you have to see what we're doing and how we progress into that madness, the madness of my husband.
Behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove's eyes within thy locks. The smell of thy garment is likened to the smell of Lebanon. Honey and milk are under thy tongue. There is no spot on thee.
The ballet John Henry is based on the folk legend John Henry. We actually don't know whether he actually lived or he's just a legend unto himself. And I hadn't choreographed a ballet in about 13 years. And I want to get my feet back into the artistic end of dance theater by doing some choreography. And I felt that the essence of what John Henry was about is the essence of what we at dance theater are about, and also human beings in the sense those who want to achieve beyond the norm. So I said, well, I'll do a ballet based on John Henry. But I didn't want a very heavy piece where you go out the theater beating and suffering, but to take the essence of the man, to give the spirit of the man, so that when you left the theater, you would feel up, you would feel light, and inspired, if you want to use a cliche word in a sense, to do something positive. And so I took that, and then I took the idea of using folk dancing. Plain, simple folk dancing, getting back to the ground, to the earth, to the simple people, and taking that and coupling that with a sense of theatricality, putting it in a locale so that we could have fun, so the people would go out of the theater singing.
There comes a point where in the United States, machines were starting to take over many of the jobs that men had, and John Henry comes up against a machine which can drive steel quicker and better, so they said, than any man. And John Henry competes against this machine to prove that he can do it better, or that man can do it better than a machine. As with all legends, you think about them and you try and relate them to yourself or to your everyday encounters. And many times one would use John Henry as such an example. When I'm performing, sometimes I need that extra push, and I may feel like I'm not going to make it through, but something in me tells me to go on and push it. And that, in a certain sense, is what John Henry has done. He pushed himself into something that they said he couldn't do, which he did.
It's a piece, I feel, that once it starts and you get involved in it and the music takes over, all of a sudden you start tapping your foot, you start clapping your hands, and you feel good. And when you leave the theater, you feel positive. I'm going to try and do something to help somebody else, not only be involved with myself. And that is really carrying on the spirit of what the man is about.
Ain't no hammer in these mountains. Ain't no hammer in these mountains. Ring like mine, ring like mine, ring like mine, ring like mine. You take this hammer and give it to the walker. You take this hammer and give it to the walker. For I'm going home, for I'm going home, for I'm going home, for I'm going home.
Hey, children, come over here and gather around and listen to my special story. Oh, no, it's more than a story. It's a great legend. See, there was this great, strong, and powerful man who outworked the steam drill. And his name was John Henry. Eddie, you be John Henry. Yvonne, you are Polly Ann. Ronald, you're the steam drill. And Felicity, you're the mother. Lord, you're the daddy. Gregory, you're little John Henry. When John Henry was a little baby, sitting on his mammy's knee, he looked down on a little piece of steel. There's a steel driving man, I will be, Lord, Lord, a steel driving man. a 10-pound hammer in his hand. With a 10-pound hammer in his hand, Lord, Lord, with a 10-pound hammer in his hand. He walked up to the foreman on the road, says, Captain, I'm a steel driving man. I can drive more steel than any man in your crew. I will die with this hammer in my hand, Lord, Lord. I will die with this hammer in my hand. Yes, I will die with this hammer in my hand, Lord, Lord. I will die with this hammer in my hand. Then John Henry threw down the 10-pound hammer, and he picked up the 20-pound sledge. Every time his hammer went on down, you could see that steel going through, Lord, Lord. See that steel going through. Just as pretty as she could be. Now the only objection I got to her, she want every man she see, Lord, Lord. She want every man she see. Yeah, she want every man she see, Lord, Lord. She want every man she see. Nasty man when I'm gone. And when you see me coming with a $20 bill, it's baby where you been so long. Yes, it's baby where you been so long. From and that dress you are wearing so fine. I got my slippers from a railroad man and my dress from a driver in the mine. Lord, yes, my dress from a driver in the mine. Shoe your little feet, yeah, and I'm gonna glove your little hand. John Henry's gonna kiss your red ruby lips, and John Henry gonna be your man. Yes, he is. John Henry gonna be your man. Captain told old John Henry, I'm gonna bring my steel drill around. I'm gonna take my steam drill out on the job. I'm gonna beat John Henry down. Yes, yes, I'm gonna beat John Henry down. I'm gonna beat John Henry down. Yes, yes, I'm gonna beat John Henry down. But John Henry told the captain, says a man ain't nothing but a man. And before I let your steam drill beat me down, I'll die with my hammer in my hand. Yes, yes, I'll die with my hammer in my hand. Yes, I'll die with my hammer in my hand. Lord, Lord, I'll die with my hammer in my hand. John Henry said, do the walking boss, when you go back to town, bring me back 2 20-pound hammers, and I'll sure beat your steam drill down. Yes, yes, I'll sure beat your steam drill down. John Henry said to his shaker, say, shaker boy, you better pray, 'cause you know if I miss this 6-foot steel, tomorrow be your burying day. Lord, Lord, tomorrow be your burying day. The steam drill set on the right-hand side. John Henry was on the left. He said, I will beat this steam drill down. I'll hammer my poor self to death, Lord, Lord. I'll hammer my poor self to death. Well, the man who invented the steam drill, he thought he was mighty fine. John Henry drove a steel rod 15 feet, and the steam drill only drove 9. Lord, Lord, the steam drill only drove 9. Yes, the steam drill only drove 9. Lord, Lord, the steam drill only drove 9. John Henry went home to his woman, said, Polly Ann, fix my bed. I wanna lay down and get some rest. I got an awful roaring in my head. I got an awful roaring in my head. The night wind whispered John Henry's dead. I couldn't hardly stay in my bed. Monday morning on the eastbound train. Oh Lord, John Henry's dead. Oh Lord, John Henry's dead. John Henry didn't need silver. John Henry didn't need gold. But Polly Ann said, oh Lord, please, please, please take his soul, 'cause a man ain't nothing but a man. John Henry was nothing but a man. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.